streaming radio media player on our website's front page, where local artists can get their music played 24/7. For more information on getting your music in rotation or to perform live at our studio, contact Reg Gaskins at 240-832-4455.
Android users, the VoxWave app is now available in the Google Play Store. Download the app today on your Android device to listen in and view programs.
Business owners looking for a place to advertise your business and promote your products and services? VoxWave is the right place. We have over 10,000 views a day and 70,000 listeners a month. For more information, contact Reg Gaskins at 240-832-4455.
Vox Radio, along with Then Sings My Soul Productions, is pleased to announce Wyoming Paris's Then Sings My Soul musical. The TSMS group is seeking support in our movement concerning domestic violence. This soul-stirring stage production is not to entertain, but to educate, encourage, and help eradicate this horrible disease that's plaguing women, men, and children who are affected daily in households across the world. Please join us in supporting 3-year-old Skylar Johnson Scholarship Fund. Skylar's grandmother was murdered by her fiance, then leaving Skylar's mother at age 3 to be raised by her uncle and maternal grandmother. To make your tax-deductible donation to a Skylar Johnson Scholarship Fund and for ticket information on Then Sings My Soul stage play in Brooklyn, New York on May 5th and 6th, visit thensingsmysoul.org. That's www.thensingsmysoul.org. Vox Radio, along with Then Sings My Soul Productions, is pleased to announce Wyoming Paris's Then Sings My Soul musical. The TSMS group is seeking support in our movement concerning domestic violence. This soul-stirring stage production is not to entertain, but to educate, encourage, and help eradicate this horrible disease that's plaguing women, men, and children who are affected daily in households across the world. Please join us in supporting 3-year-old Skylar Johnson Scholarship Fund. Skylar's grandmother was murdered by her fiance, then leaving Skylar's mother at age 3 to be raised by her uncle and maternal grandmother. To make your tax-deductible donation to a Skylar Johnson Scholarship Fund and for ticket information on Then Sings My Soul stage play in Brooklyn, New York on May 5th and 6th, visit thensingsmysoul.org. That's www.thensingsmysoul.org.
Enhance your listening experience. VoxWave.com.
Check out all your favorite shows at VoxWave.com. On Mondays, we keep it moving with the Kim Show from 11 to 1 p.m. Then it's time for a change with Sherry and Mignon, 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. And then in the end we win with Curtis, 8:15 p.m. to 9:15 p.m. On Tuesdays, 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. Start your afternoon with the Wealth Zone with Raymond Starks. Then it's Cooking with Flavors with Chef Flavors, 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. And treat yourself right with My Spa Bath and Body, hosted by Margaret Harris, 7 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Up next is Slick Daddy Rick, Heartbeat Congo Hour, rocking from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Then on Wednesdays, you can't miss Impact the World with Cheryl Woods, 12 noon to 2 p.m. And then from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m., we got Slick Talk with Oscar D and It's the Kid. Then from 8 to 9 p.m., we crank it up with Live Set Wednesdays, hosted by Reg Gaskins. And after that, 9:15 to 10:15 p.m., the BGKH Show with Dominion and Epic. And check out our Thursday lineup, starting with You, Math, and Me, hosted by George Randall from 10 to 10:30 a.m. Then from 7 to 9 p.m., the 640 Evening Show with DJ 640. And on Fridays, we start out with Peace in the Morning Show with Darius A. Stan, co-host Delicate Daryl Barnes, and Queen of Sudabed, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. From 10:30 to 11:30, the Hall Street Journal with Robert Hall and co-host Clarence Sanders. And after that, you know we gotta check in with Chanel's 3 Cents, 1:30 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. Up next, from 3 to 4:30 p.m., Daryl Allen Hairston II Crime Victims Foundation Show with your host, Daryl Hairston. Then, from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. is The Rush Hour with DJ Drew and Janique. And from 9:15 to 11:15 p.m., you can't miss Different Mind Show with Bam 640 and DJ Andre Michael, co-host Hillary Banks. Then start out your Saturday mornings with the Healer Blues Show, hosted by Ron Jackson. After that, 9:30 to 10:30 a.m., The Hour of Power with Reverend Winters Rogers. Then, from 11 a.m. to 12 noon, it's time for prayer, praise, and deliverance with Elder Thurman Gorman Jr. Four Sisters Live Talk, 12:30 to 2:30 p.m. Then every second Saturday, listen to Turning Dreams into Reality Talk Show with Tashika L. Green, 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. After that, from 3 to 4 p.m., we walk in newness 24/7 with Missionary Antoinette. And don't miss, from 4:30 to 6:30 p.m., news, ULM News and Analysis, information, sports, Black history, with your host, news anchor Roderick Carter Willis, 4:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. Then, from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m., it's time for DJ Rick, the CEO of Step Your Game Up, the Youth Project, co-hosted by DJ Main and DJ Low Hefe. And then, at 7:45 to 8:45 p.m., it's time for the Fantastic Live Show with MC Fran. And starting out on Sundays, from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., I am Dr. Sharon Show with Dr. Sharon. And every first Sunday, from 3 to 4 p.m., it's the Riri Williams Show, Fashion and Style Hour. And every third Sunday, check out the Teen Talk Show with Dr. Akita Pearson, 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. Then it's time for Real Talk 101, 6 to 8 p.m. And from 8:15 to 9:15 p.m., we're tuned into the Gospel Live TV show with Glory Mello. Stay tuned to Vox Wave, where you can find all your favorite shows.
The world's #1 streaming music station, VoxWave.com.
Hello, and welcome to Time for a Change with Sherry Ann McYon. We come to you each and every Monday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So as you can see, I do have another guest in the studio today, which she goes by the name of Stubbs. she's filling in for Sherry today. Sherry couldn't be with us, but she will be back next Monday at 6:30. So we love you, Sherry.
Hey, Sherry. We miss you, girl.
Yes. So we have the fabulous Stubbs in the studio today.
Woo.
She is the awesome co-host today. It is such a pleasure to have you on the show with me
Thanks
again.
for the invite.
Thanks you are so welcome.
Thank you. I always enjoy coming in and being around you, and I'm so thankful to be filling in for Sherry because I'm going to do Sherry some justice. Sherry,
we know you are
cutting up like me. So.
So we just want you to introduce yourself to our audience. Let them know who is Stubbs.
Hey, you guys, it's your girl Stubbs from The Stubbs Show. Also the founder of the Leap of Faith Network on Facebook and all around the world. That's where The Stubbs Show is as well. I am a realistic motivational speaker. I'm a human being, and I'm just a person on a mission to spread love and faith. That's what I can say. I'm a mother, too, at that.
Awesome. Awesome. So tonight we have a great topic. We are discussing abstinence.
Whew. Yeah.
And we do have some great guests in the studio, so we're going to talk about that next. But before we get into that, what did you do this weekend?
You know what? I didn't really do much this weekend, besides I was in the community. I did the Girls Rule the World event, Pillow Talk, and I was out in Southeast, and we did like a Serenity Room, and the women were actually crying and loving it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, I didn't really get out and do much that I really wanted to do as myself, but I did work and pour out myself into the community.
Awesome.
What about you?
Well, you got a lot of elected officials going on. So there was a big See Pleasant Day parade with all the officials out there, all the candidates.
Okay.
We had Paul Montero, he was out there. Crystal Orather, and she is running for county council for District 7.
Okay.
So a lot of those people that I support, and also Paul, he is the youngest candidate that's running for Prince George's County exec. Okay. So they were out there and just introducing themselves into the community. And also Kendra Wade. Kendra Wade is out there. He's running for sheriff for Prince George's County. So it was a very good day,
Did you have any youth time?
Well, later on Saturday I did. It was also Rashika. She's a part of the Coalition of Mothers, of Concerned Mothers, and they had a rally out in Clinton at Costco Park for like all the mothers and fathers who have lost children to police brutality, gun violence, and also community violence and domestic violence. So it was good. All my sisters was out there and had met some other mothers from across the country who came in.
Wow.
To be a part of this. Yeah, it was awesome. And then the mothers was also honored later on that night by the Alliance of Concerned Men. There was an event down Southwest. So it was really good.
You stay out in the community, spreading the word on domestic violence and things like that. And, people who, I guess, moms who have lost their children, that's a beautiful thing because that's not easy.
Absolutely. It's not easy. And every time I hear someone else's story, it just breaks my heart to meet another mother who have lost their child to some type of community violence or gun violence. So, we have to change. We have to change. We always looking at things outside of our community, but we have to focus inside of our community. And we have to stop the killing. I mean, it's so many people being killed for things that's so senseless, and so...
Yeah, I was just hearing on the news about the young lady who had got killed, her and her boyfriend or something.
In the Uber, yes.
Oh, my God, in the Uber. And it's like, wow, you can't even drive for Uber anymore and feel protected. You can't go to school anymore. You can't go to church anymore. Like Childish Gambino, is that his name? His video, the choir was singing, and then he just turned around, pick up the gun, and shoot and says, this is America. That is America.
That's America now. We can't even go, like you said, we can't go to the movie theater. You can't go to your place of worship. You can't go to school. And so what do?
Do what you're doing.
We have to live. We can't live our lives in fear.
Get more people to do what we're doing. Getting out in the community, taking steps, and doing what they need to do.
Absolutely. We got to talk about these issues.
Yeah, can't get better without your help.
That's right. That's right. And so It's a lot, but you got some real strong advocates out here that's really doing their best to bring more awareness to gun violence and domestic violence, and just trying to help the community as a whole. So we appreciate all those frontline soldiers that's out there that's actually doing the work, all those grassroots organizations. Sometimes we don't get a lot of recognition for the work that we're doing because so many other big organizations overshadow us.
Yeah.
But those grassroots are the ones that's hands-on. Those are the ones that get those calls at 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning.
Get up out their bed
to go and service the community. Absolutely.
And you need to support those type of people more, because a lot of times you're giving your, and I'm not going to say no names, but you put your money into those big organizations because they're always everywhere. Well, guess what? They have the money to be everywhere. You need to help these other, like she said, grassroots organizations who need your support and who are actually, believe it or not, they are the big hand behind some of these big people, because some of those big organizations pay the little organizations to do the work. Yes, they do to
do the work.
And they don't let them get the shine.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. They will definitely contract that work out to be done. So that is so big what you just said. I say that all the time, that people always want to be connected to something. So they'll have this big name organization. They'll be just so proud. Oh, I donated money to Susan G. Komen.
I was going to say about that.
Susan G. Komen. And, Susan G. Komen, we don't see her in our neighborhood
Not in our
doing
community.
the work. No, but we got Teresa's foundation that's in our community that's feeding women that's going through breast cancer treatment and helping to give support to her family and things like that. So support those smaller organizations who are taking the brunt of everything that's going on. And
actually getting out there moving.
Yes, it takes a lot to be able to do that.
Those are the marathon runners, the real marathon runners that's going to the finish line. You need to connect with them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm excited about tonight.
Ooh.
We got a big, heavy topic.
You see, I said, ooh,
yeah,
I'm excited.
We have a big, heavy topic with men and women. Abstinence is a big thing. So we're going to get into that. But before we do have our segment in the news.
What's going on now?
Ooh, well, in the news right now is we're going to talk about Trey Songz.
Okay.
And he was arrested for domestic violence. He had a woman that stated that at a party that he had strangled her and had hit her in her face and called her all different types of names and everything. And so she filed charges against him. Later, there was a warrant for his arrest. He turned himself in. But then before he turned himself in, he put out a statement on Twitter, and he basically denounced all
I
the
thought
charges.
He beat the jail.
Yes, he denounced all the charges. He said that this was just a woman that was just basically trying to have
Get
some type
money.
of financial gain or something
Extortion.
out of this. Yeah, something like that. And so that's what he said. And then a couple of weeks later, they threw the case out. The charges were dropped. And so he had his day in court. So, and a lot of people look at this now, you have two sides of this now. You have a victim that reported what was going on. And then you have a celebrity, a person of power, money and power, that's saying that this is not true. And so with me being in the domestic violence world, it made me, the first story I seen was when they dropped the charges. And so I wanted to go back and read the first article to see, was there any financial gain from this woman? Like, what was she asking for?
What was she going to get? Because a lot of times it's going to be denied and she's going to get the embarrassment.
Exactly.
So why would she do that?
Why would she just do that? Okay, so the initial charge and everything what she was going after, it had nothing to do with money. She basically told him that, I know I'm not your first victim, but I will be your last.
Oh, so she was the one coming up.
She the one who came forward. Exactly. And so I say that what does that say now to the victim? That I'm a victim. This man did this to me. And now I'm speaking out of it. I'm doing my part to bring awareness to this. But because of his celebrity status,
it's not good, because what it does is teaches also our young girls and teens not to speak up. Because it's like, if this happened to this woman and she's older than me, who am I to say anything? You know, who are these celebrities? And the celebrities need to stop using their name for their game. Their name for their game. You know, because a lot of them, they think that a woman wants to have sex with them because they're a celebrity, and that's not the case.
Right.
Some women have respect and morals for themselves that they don't care if you got a name, you still gonna respect me.
Absolutely.
So, you know,
Absolutely.
and what am I, excuse me, Trey, but do he really got a lot of money?
I don't know, but I started looking at his background, and this is not the first altercation or the first woman who said something about him being abusive.
But look at Chris Brown. It seems like a cycle that they just pass it along. When are the other men going to say something?
Absolutely.
So if this isn't the first time, when are the other men?
This is not the first time, and I'm quite sure and we know for a fact that somebody else have seen this. But why they dropped the charges with the young ladies? Because a lot of people stepped up for Trey and said that they witnessed what happened, and what she said happened didn't happen.
How did they witness it? That's what I'm like. So, okay. I'm just trying to figure out if he was trying to have sex, and the point was that he didn't do these things with her. How did your friends witness this woman in the bedroom? Then that leads me to say, did y'all hold her down?
Well, they were at I don't know if they were at a party in a club or a party in a house. It just said that they were at a party.
For me, if she's been choked and held down and she's screaming, and if they were there to witness it, which one of them stepped up to help?
Exactly.
Read between the lines.
Yeah.
Read, just like that little girl who got killed in the hotel, you know. But then again, it's Trey Songz, so I guess they want the neighbor to know their name or something, whatever he's saying.
Yeah.
It's sad. It's sad. So we have to start speaking up, because that's the first steps of abuse. He could kill somebody.
Yes,
next.
he could. Yes, he could. I mean, I'm laughing because I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm just laughing because just of the things that we as women, we have to endure when we want to step out and say that we have been abused in some form. We're always made out to be the villain, and that, oh, it's not possible that could have happened to you. What do you want from him? What do you mean? What do I want from him? Does it always have to be monetary? Like, am I always seeking money? It's like, it's not my decency in who I am that this man disrespected me.
And they got mothers of their own, and these men are disrespectful to black women.
Yeah, they are.
I mean, I'm just saying that I put up a post the other day that said that the black woman is the least respected woman in America.
Yes, she is.
And the most disrespected person in America.
Yes, she is.
The black woman. And when these incidents happen like this, it just puts us back a couple of more years, because we are the black men that stand up for us. Trey Songz has a daughter, I believe.
I think he does. I think he does. A lot of these men have to look at it like that. And we're not just only saying that men are abusers. We know that women are abusers too. But we're talking about Trey Songz right now, and it was a man who was the abuser.
Did he come say anything else after that?
He didn't. He said he said that his attorneys told him not to say anything about it. That's the only thing that he released.
Well, we all know what that means. When you can't say too much and back yourself, and the case is supposedly closed, you know what that means.
Because you may say too much.
Yeah, and then they try to hush you. That's just like when somebody go into the detective room, and they, you know, at first they talking, and then when they seem like they got caught, they shut up. So next, my question is, ladies, what are we going to do to stand up for the victim?
We have to support them. My thing is that you have to support the victim at all costs. No ifs, ands, buts about it. We always support the victim. Always.
Because everybody isn't lying.
Everybody is not lying.
And who would want to come out and put themselves in that forefront and to get that ridicule like that? Because she knew they were going to attack her. But she seems like she's like you, an advocate. And that's why she said this is your last person.
Absolutely. And when I read that, I said, you know what? I just believe that he did something to her. Even though he has had his day in court and they threw it out, they didn't find any merit to pursue it or whatever because of his witnesses. But you can buy witnesses. You can close their mouths with some money.
Not only that, because of his celebrityism, they're going to lie just to be around him. That's sad. It brings me back to Rihanna with Chris Brown, how that got washed away, and so many other celebrities that it just goes under the table, and it's with men especially. But
yeah, but Khalees, this I don't know if she's a rapper, singer,
yeah,
whatever,
rapper,
but she was the one that was married to Nas. She just did an interview and was talking about all the years of being in an abusive relationship with Nas. She was saying just how angry he was, and she said there's plenty of friends who sat around and watched the abuse, and no one said nothing.
I think she said this a while ago, and they hushed her. So now she's coming back.
She just came out. I heard it. Oh, I heard it like 2 weekends ago.
And Michelle A. went through the same thing with Dr. Dre.
Yep.
And hushed her until the unsung, and then people still want her quiet.
Look at Tamar. She talked about Vince. It's happening, people. I mean, domestic violence is happening in these relationships. People are so angry and hurting. And when you got angry, hurt people, they're going to hurt people. They're going to hurt people. And I do not believe that it's intentional, but it's happening. And so we have to learn how to deal with that.
And money don't make you. Money don't make you. What you got right now, they may get away, but they eventually going to reap what they sow.
Absolutely.
Look at Bill Cosby. I
know
somebody mad. I ain't
that's
going there. I just say that one thing.
That's another topic in the news.
Yeah, who?
With Bill Cosby. A lot of people feel as though because the time frame that the victims came forward, but there's no time frame for hurt and pain when somebody wants to come forward to finally get the courage to say that somebody did something to them that violated them. Now,
my honest opinion, you want to hear it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes,
is
I
that
do.
with Bill, yes, what he did as the Bill Cosby was wrong, with the women.
With the Quaaludes.
Yeah. But somebody said some of them women may wanted to take the pills.
Because back then, that's
that
what
was
they
a party
were doing.
Drug.
It was of course.
I mean, even
do.
now, you guys are on the Mollies, and they went from the E-pills, and then they were saying that some of the women may have knew they were going to get a position, so they did it, but it didn't mean that he had to do it. They could have did that on their own.
Right.
That part is wrong. But another thing we have to watch out for is they only attacked him because he was trying to buy out a black network.
That's what I heard.
And sometimes our legends, as they try to go out and do more for the community, the system attacks them. So I get what they're saying, and yes, he should have not done those to the women, but I agree with Miss Huxtable, is that it's an attack a little bit too. They're attacking him because the guy from Seventh Heaven, the white guy from Seventh Heaven, he did a lot of molestation on that show as well. They brought it up once or twice in the news, and that was it.
Right.
That was it.
We have to definitely hold them accountable. It's a lot of Caucasian men who were exposed through the whole Me Too campaign, and they were allowed to just, remove them from their place of employment and it just go away. Well, where are the charges to be brought up on those men?
Yeah, because those women are still left as victims.
Absolutely.
And that's another thing that people don't understand is you can forgive someone and you can move forward, you could go to counseling, but those things reside in your spirit for life.
Yeah.
You could take a shower, you could do all those things, but you can't wash away what's on the inside. It takes years to come out of that stuff, and then you have children that you're fearful about doing anything because of what you experience. So we have to start standing up as women, and women, we also have to stop putting ourselves in those type of positions, because some women put yourselves in a position where this man is the way he is. Why would you go be getting high, getting drunk, and laying up? So you have to watch everything and look at men's character, because some of them are already trifling, and you knew it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
You are absolutely right. And on that, we are going to take a quick break, and we're going to be back with our awesome guests. We have Kendra Fowler in the studio tonight. So you're watching Time for Change, and we'll be right back.
You know I am, but it's got to be funky desire. Get on up. Let's dance. Let's dance to the summer beat. Let's dance. Let's dance to the summer beat. Let's dance. Let's dance. Let's dance. the drummer's beat. We wanna see you. Let's dance. Let's dance to the drummer's beat. Let's dance. Let's dance.
Moving more than your thing to this go-go swing, y'all.
Get it, T-Bone.
Right here. What's the beat now?
Let's dance. Let's dance to the drummer's beat. Let's dance. Let's dance to the drummer's beat. Let's dance. Just get up, bust to your seat. Come on, let's dance. Let's dance.
Come on, a little body for your soul. To add to the rest of TNT soul, to keep your body in step. A combination of hip-hop, pumping and non-stop. Giving the crowd a notion, from motion to they drop. Anatomy moves to the bass that pounds, and the sound of the percussion is throwing down. And I found that no song is complete without the ample example of the funkiest beat. Bass drum, snare drum, you know you want some rhythm that will move and groove you is the outcome. Get up, don't sit, it's not over yet. Have a music to spit, I wanna see you sweat. Hit the cards with a bullet, and we just begun. You think you're dancing now?
Just wait for the album.
9 millimeters of pure rhyme in these minds you'll find. We just get better with time. C stands for desire, cause that's what I set off. Desire to hear me deep, cause I get off.
T for you, my rhymes for you. We're here to get the party started, so move.
We're here to have fun and let go.
At the same time, crew,
We're running the show.
all we want you to do is get caught in the groove. So every guy, rapper, girl, and go
Real smooth.
Let's dance to the drummer's beat. Let's dance. Let's dance to the drummer's beat. Let's dance. Let's dance. Dance, dance, dance. Let's dance. Let's dance. Dance,
So sounds good to me.
Me too.
The biscuits with the jelly and the fizzle. I want some of that good old Popeye chicken. The biscuits with the jelly and the fizzle. The rings on Little old Kilimanjaro style black. Come on. See, some of y'all don't know nothing about this show right here. That's when we first started, when we was young bloods, young thugs. I want some of that good old Popeye chicken. The biscuits with the jelly and the fizzle. I want some of that good old Popeye chicken. The biscuits with the jelly and the fizzle. Rock of those tom-toms. Rock of those tom-toms now. It's how I go. Rock of those tom-toms. They don't know nothing about that next time. Rock of those tom-toms. Hey T, hey E, you Brown, you Brown, you Brown, come on, yeah, you Brown, you got a job, the girl I used to have. She found somebody else that I'm just hanging around, I'm thinking about. Hey, I say that girl I used to have, she found somebody else.
Give me some of that thug passion, baby. Word of song. Yeah. Up your back blood, now relate soul. Now say something, I relate soul. Yeah. Keep on way. Hey, it's the fun. Everybody going on. So right love we got you dripping well. The way we make you sweat. Baby Jackson, Georgetown Hoyas, so Street Burley, White Girl Down, so B.O.P. MCs, yeah, come on. We say soul. Hey, Joe, I'm a put out good. We say soul. I'm a put out good. We say soul. Yeah, drunk on down. Hey, Joe, brother man. You ride, come on. Anything with you serving, come on. Hey, sound. That nigga food seller. What's up, block? Yeah, a nigga block. Till another time. Come away. Head in the bar. You got it going on. Come on. Some of that love. Yes, man. Stand back. Yeah. It's all yeah. The sweet girl. It's right. Hey, come on. Friends. See, I'm up in my blood. My relay soul. Yeah. I'm up in my blood. My relay soul.
Hello and welcome back to Time for a Change. I am your host, McYon, and this is my awesome co-host today,
Stubbs. Hey, you guys.
Thank you so much for joining us. As you can see, we have another guest in the studio. We have Miss Kendra here.
Hello, everyone. So, I am Kendra, also known as Miss K. I am an author and poet and motivational speaker.
Awesome.
Thank you for having me here.
Thank you for coming back again.
I was happy to.
We had to continue this conversation, right? And we are so, Sherry wasn't able to be here today, but we definitely looking for her to call in. And also, and also we will be taking questions. So if anybody want to call in, that telephone number is 240-719-2560. So Kendra, we are talking about abstinence today.
Let's get into it.
Not my goodies, not my goodies.
And she ain't playing. She ain't giving up her goodies, y'all. I'm telling you, she not giving up her goodies. And this is a good topic to have her on as. Because you didn't announce your book. What's your book?
So my book is Pain, Promiscuity, Purpose from Mess to Ministry. That's my book. And then I have an ebook called Not My Goodies. It's $1.99 on Amazon.
Yes.
She's not giving up her goodies, you guys.
Yes.
But the topic is abstinence. So that's why we brought her on. And she's down into her word about not giving up her goodies. I'm here playing the devil's advocate today. I'm keeping my goodies. I might give up the goodies. You know what I'm saying? I might give them up.
Yes, and that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about all of that. We're going to talk about saving our goodies, and we're going to also talk about, sometimes when we want to give those goodies away. Okay, so we're going to be
on this side.
I'm in the middle.
She on the fence. I'm over here saying, I'm getting it, girl.
So this is such a huge topic with men and women. This Sunday I had even put a post up on Facebook about why I choose to stay abstinent because of a conversation that I had with a gentleman, and it was so. I have known him for a while. We are friends. It has never been anything romantic with any of us, with either one of us. But he had happened to start messing with one of my girlfriends, So he was messing with her. That didn't work out. And so now he has this, I don't know if he always had this attraction for me or just now it's just coming from wherever. Right. But he's expressing that. Okay. And so he's telling me that I should be with him. He's on this 10-day cruise and everything, and he's telling me I should be there with him, and why am I keep running from him? So I just expressed to him that no, I'm not running from you. I just don't get involved with any man who has dealt with any of my sisters. I don't do that. Like how that's supposed to happen? How we supposed to have a relationship and you didn't been in a relationship with my girlfriends? And so, and then what it turned out to be, he on a cruise, but he's on a cruise with another woman. And then he says, he says she's asleep right now. He said, and I know I'm wrong for flirting with you on the phone, and I'm on a cruise with another woman. He said, but I'm just with this chick because she don't have a job. Yeah. She don't have a job, and she could travel for 10 days. Wow. And so I was like, you know what?
Messy.
That's how they do that. I mean, not all of them.
A lot of them.
How he do. That's
a lot of guys are like that. It's messy.
And then he also said to me, and so he said that, what am I supposed to do when this was his exact words, when a fine-ass strong woman called me as yourself?
Right, yeah, and he didn't want to answer the phone.
Yeah, what do I supposed to do?
I'm going to move this, you guys, a little bit.
He was very bold for that. And I did tell him, I said, I'm going to have to post this conversation because of what the topic of the show is. I would definitely have to post it.
What did he say? Did you tell him?
I told him, I got his permission. I'm not trying to be sued now.
Okay, but what did he say?
He said he didn't care. And I said, I'm going to take your name out of it. He said, I don't even care if you show my name. Wow. I said, well, I'm not going to show your name. But I'm going to show the conversation.
Okay.
Yes, he is.
Somebody put that under the post. They was like savagery. And I was like, at his best.
Yes.
At his best.
But that's how some men talk about us as women when they're interested in somebody else. They always try to play the woman down to build themselves up. Like, I'm going to be like, oh, yeah. Well, and he called the other girl he was messing with crazy. He said, yeah, well, I did make a mistake messing with your friend.
But it was never his fault.
Nothing was his fault. If you can see in the conversation, everything is put off on someone else. And so I was basically saying, that's why that's why I am abstaining, because you don't have to go through all the foolery of that. You know what I'm saying? You have a longer period of time to be able to figure out these people, what they want from you, and have those conversations. Have those conversations.
Like you left him alone and ain't think about nothing that you done gave him. Ain't no ties there or nothing. You was able to just, okay.
And with no sex, you're able to think clearer.
Well, I can't, I'm not going to all the way agree with that 100%. Because you can be in love with somebody and not having sex and not think clear. Once you get to meeting somebody and you infatuated and you want to be with them all the time, you mess up then too.
Yes,
your focus be like, whoa, I'm not going to date.
Do.
That's why some people in business don't even date. because they lose their focus. But I get what you're saying. He was messy, he was nasty, and you was able to pull away from that without any, like she said, any attachment or any problems. But yeah, that was a messy one. When
Yeah,
I seen
because
that
he's
one, I was
not
like,
my man in no way, shape or form. He's a friend.
Right.
He's a friend, but it just triggered that thing into, okay, why you have to down talk these other women and be disrespectful to another woman? I don't care why you brought her on that cruise, and I don't care why she's there.
Right.
But that don't mean that she's sleeping. You on the phone with another woman? Like, come on.
But that
now.
was God showing you how messy he was. You don't even want that type of messy energy around you. He the type of man. So that's some Trey Songz type of dude. Let me stop. I'm not talking about you, fella. He might be watching. I'm just saying. It just seemed like that.
Yes. So abstinence is big. So how long have you been abstaining from sex?
For me, it's been almost 3 years.
Oh, do that 3 years that you was looking for.
Yeah, and it was it was difficult at first. So I went from not being able to go like a couple of days. I mean, I was, and I write about it, like I was addicted. I was addicted to newness. So I could be with a person and then it would be a certain amount of time before I wanted something else. So I would be itching for something new. So for me to be able to go, even once I hit my 1 year mark, I was just praising God because I've never, ever, since I started when I was 15, I've never been abstinent. So, I mean, that's big for me. So I know I can't go back.
I have had periods in my life when I have been abstinent. I know usually if I break off a relationship, I always give myself that time to heal from that relationship. There's no sex going on, and you know I'm not jumping in no new relationships. And you know all the time you ain't got to be in a relationship to have sex with someone. So, but you know I really have put that off for a certain amount of time. And now, right now, I am 27 months in. To my
congratulations!
Yes,
congratulations!
Yes, wow.
Like I say, I'm telling you, it was more easy for me when I had my blinders on. I'm gonna say that when I had my blinders on, I'm not looking at no men. I'm not checking for no men. Every man that say something, I'm married.
Yeah, just cut them off real quick.
Cut them off real quick and keep moving. I ain't got time. But now. It's like now, as soon as you get to the point and you're starting to let your guard down and you're like, I want to date. I want to be dating. Now, all of a sudden, you like, I want to date. I want to have sex. Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
I would say I'm not practicing it at all currently. But for me, it's easy for me to turn down sex. So it's easy for me to see a guy and he could be bucket naked. He can be rubbing on me. He can have all the money on the table that he wants. If I don't want it, I just don't want it. And I think that has worked for me with guys to know that if I don't want it, I just don't want it. And it kind of makes them want to pursue more. But I'm congratulating you ladies for being able to do that. But for me, I can cut off sex. Like I was telling someone, I'm about to go into a fast without sex, cut sex off. And they were saying, well, you need to do something different because that's easy for you. It's easy for me to turn that down. So, but... it's a good feeling that I enjoy, and I am currently I was needing it, and I have someone that I can do that with, and he's a nice guy. But you can't be out here doing it with anybody because you have AIDS. And then,
absolutely,
as Kendra says, she makes a good point when she says that a lot of women emotions and feelings get caught up in it. And a lot of times we say, oh, it's just sex. But a lot of times if you keep going back and you're laying with this person, you do have your emotions and those type of things.
Because you're creating soul ties. You're creating soul ties.
I wouldn't necessarily say soul ties.
And we were made to create that bond. We were made so God created man and woman to be married and enjoy that. So the feeling that you get is not wrong. That feeling, that connection that you feel is not wrong. It's just when it's in the wrong setting, I should say, and you putting yourself in a position to get hurt.
So would you say that people have to be married to have sex? Or, okay, let me find the right way to word this. So if I wanted to practice abstinence until I met a good guy, is that the same, or is yours until you get married?
Until I get married.
Okay.
So based on the word of God, marriage is for husband and wife. So I know some people who practice abstinence and they just do it for a certain amount of time until they get in a relationship with one person. But for me, I believe that marriage is supposed to be for husband and wife. And I believe that God wasn't trying to be mean when he said that. I believe he knew about the heartbreak that came with it, the sexually transmitted diseases, unwanted pregnancy, and just, I write about in my ebook, just that connection, insecurity. I was having this conversation. I wrote it in my ebook, and then I had a conversation with this older woman. She's like in her 60s, and she brought up the fact of the unnecessary insecurity. I remember like talking to someone and checking his Facebook. Somebody comment on his Facebook. I'm going to her page to see how many of her pictures he done. Like, it's just being insecure, and then every person of the opposite sex wondering is that somebody he's sleeping with. So just not having to worry about none of that. Like, I feel good. Like, I'm not sitting here wondering if I done contracted something. I'm not worried about who somebody's sleeping with or none of that. So for me, it's until I get married.
So for me, for those who may feel a certain way for having sex, my thing is there are women in Africa and other countries who their religion is something different than what another woman's or male religion is. So for me, I just say go with what you feel, because insecurities come in all forms, So even if I just like a guy, I have trolled his Facebook or his social media page. I have slightly wanted to stalk him, and he didn't even do nothing but take me on a date and be fine as crap. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And I'm on him already, But for me,
what's going on?
Yeah, I'm divorced, and I've found so many times that people get in a relationship with someone, and then 6 months in, they really like this guy, and they're going to church, and they marry this guy because eventually they want to pursue the sexual part of things and spending a night with him. And then what they find out is this is a demon, or this is a guy who just played his part to get in your drawers. And I know a lot of guys that know that in church women think like that, So, but for you, like I said, your story is different, and the way that you inspire from your aspect is great. But for me, I'm about getting a little nookie from time to time, you know what I'm saying? But I got somebody to get it with.
And as far as that happening in marriages, a lot of times that's why it's so important to examine a person's fruit, because a person could be in church Monday through Sunday, and I knew a guy like that, but the thing about it is his fruit was something different. Like, we see, like, as much as we can deny it, like, if your relationship with God is real, you're going to be looking for that realness in him. So eventually it's going to show, whether it's he ain't trying to pray tonight, he ain't trying to go to church, like, it's going to eventually show. Because if it ain't no fruit, that's the thing, you look for the fruits of the Spirit. That's love, peace, joy, kindness, patience. If he don't have none of that and not exhibiting it on a daily basis, most likely he ain't really feel. So you just got to really be around him when times are hard, not just when times are good, because you can see how he react to negativity. Is he praying, or is he succumbing to his situation? Or, when things hard financially, you just got to be with him in all seasons, not necessarily a season in a year, but in all seasons, meaning good times, bad times.
And eventually you're going to have to marry that man so he can release that stress.
I'm
just saying, because men need that release.
They do. And I know for me, I'm practicing abstinence. It's because I want to experience that intimacy on a different level. I have never, dealt that. All my relationships, of course, was all sexual and everything from the beginning. But I want to deal with that intimacy part of being in love with someone without the physical. Because they said that statistics shows that most couples that abstain from sex before getting married, they have a more healthier sex life, a more healthier relationships. And when I was thinking about that, I was like, I have learned that even when I was married, or even in prior relationships, is that when it comes to sex in a relationship, it's not contingent upon how you feel. So I'm having sex with my husband or my boyfriend at that time, no matter what, because I didn't connect sex to how I felt. If this is something that he wants, I'm going to please my man. Me upset because we had an argument this morning don't have anything to do with the sexual part of it. You know what I'm saying?
And that's where marriage comes in.
Yeah, and I just learned to separate the two, that it does not have anything to do with, the sex has nothing to do with how I feel about him. So for me, I want a more deeper, intimate relationship with a man.
I think that that's where marriage comes in. Like for me, if I'm going to be doing that, it's going to go by how I feel and if I want to give it up. But if I'm not feeling it, then you're not getting it. But if you're my husband, I'm going to submit, and I'm supposed to help you to release
and
all
I
of
believe
that. So that's where you're not paying for this cow. You have to marry this cow.
And there are some boundaries to it.
Yeah.
You know, you ain't going to just do something and I'm just going to freely just give myself to it. But I'm talking about just the whole thing of just sex, period. A lot of women use sex to hold over men's heads.
Yeah, that's true.
A lot of them use that. A lot of them use sex to hold these things over men's heads. And so I just didn't want to be that type of woman. I wanted to be a woman to recognize that, okay, even though we've had some issues, I may be a little upset with you, but my husband want to have sex with me tonight, so why am I going to not have sex with him because we was mad because maybe he broke a dish in the dishwasher or, you know, something like that. So...
Well, religious-wise, you can't hold it back.
Yeah, well, for me, religious-wise, my body is my body.
You was not giving it up.
My body is my body. My body.
Minister, and I think this question would be for you, well, one of you ladies, since you said something, you mentioned something about you were just starting a date and you were feeling a little different. So Minister Kendall said, do you still date while being abstinent? You ladies can answer that.
Yeah. Yes. We do. You have to date.
Yeah, you definitely still date. It's just like it is easier to be abstinent when you're not dating someone. But when you are, you just have to, you know, if you want to stay abstinent until marriage, you have to be with somebody that wants to do the same thing. Because I've met guys who said, well, I could do it for you. But the thing about it is, if he's not doing it for me, then he gonna get it from somebody else.
Right.
If he is doing it for me, he gonna get it from somebody else. And I would rather him be doing it
for himself.
For himself.
For himself, and because of his reverence for God. Like, so you just got to be with somebody who's doing the same thing, and then just put boundaries in place. Like, I know this husband and wife, they actually didn't even talk on the phone past 9 o'clock, because she said he started sounding like Barry White. So
started working her up.
She stopped talking to him at certain times at night. I mean, like, they wouldn't be alone too long at night. So at a certain time, they cut it off. So you just got to do what you got to do.
And that's exactly what you do. You have to plan your dates. You have to know, and you can't put yourself in compromising positions. Exactly. You can't go to his house at 12 o'clock at night after you done went out, had a nice time, and now you're at his house in his bedroom. I know for me, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
I feel as though if I'm going to the house, it's going down.
Yeah, so that for me, I was just going to say, if I'm going to the house, I'm probably going in the bedroom.
It's going down. Yeah. It's going down. If I'm going to the house, it's going down. So you have to plan that. So if you know you want to keep your abstinence intact, then you have to remove yourself from certain things. And like you said, you have to come up with, we don't talk at a certain time. We don't get in passionate kisses. You know, you can't do too much. You can peck, but you can't get all into it where you be like, oh God, you.
Yeah, you ready? Come up on his neck. Come on down up in here. Yeah. But one thing I wanted to also, I done lost my thought that quick because that threw me off. But I was going to say for me, and I'm on my regular page, so I'm telling y'all a little bit of my business. But I was practicing abstinence for a couple of months. Actually, I think when we first did the last show, I was practicing it for a couple of months, and I was praying. And what I did was I wrote a board, like a vision board of what I wanted from God, and one of them was a partner, soulmate, and king, but the one created for me. And within that fasting, I did meet a nice guy, and he's a very nice guy, but he's different than anything I've ever dated. So it's like, and then when I met him, the devil threw everything old that I wanted at me, or that I've been waiting to want me. And this guy was open for waiting, praying, and all these type of things. But then, you know, I'm not going to say he wanted it. I wanted it too. And we waited, and it did happen. But he also has no problem with us fasting if, you know, to fast right now and to say, because we're not married, we need to fast. But for me, it just was different because I don't feel any guilt from having sex.
No, you shouldn't.
Other than, I just wanted to, I felt good doing it, and I felt good afterwards, but I would feel guilty if I started doing it with other men. So I'm not the type where I believe in you going to be humping everybody.
No.
But for me, if you have someone that you like and you love and you've been dating and they seem like they're good enough to get your goodies, you might can give them some goodies, you know. But that's just me, you know. We have our own ways about things. But I'm not into the religion. And I don't think that God is going to, if I do everything right and my heart is pure, and the only thing I did wrong to some people before I died was had some sex, I don't think I'm going to hell for it.
Well, you can ask for forgiveness.
I can't, not if I die.
Well, in the process.
And the thing about it is, we all fall short. We all sinning in some way. So whether it's sex, whether it's lying, cheating, or whatever, but the difference is between myself and some other women like yourself. Like you said, you're not convicted by it. You're not necessarily religious or going by the word and stuff. For me, the word is my life, and that's my instruction book. So for me, the word says that we're supposed to wait until marriage before we have sex, and so that's what I follow. And just from my past experiences, aside from that, just knowing the stuff that I've dealt with, and it wasn't even worth it. Like, to be honest, when I first got on my abstinent journey, I would think about how I felt afterward. Like, a lot of times I feel good, but then it's like, I mean, it's just it was no point to it. It's like, what are we? A few minutes of pleasure, and then we don't have anything outside of that. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it was the word of God, of course, and then also just protecting myself physically, protecting myself emotionally. But not everybody has that. Like I said, some people just do it just for a period of time, like yourself, until they get with one person. But for me and my standard is the word of God. My standard is what He says. You know what I'm saying?
So let's get into the pastors who preach about the abstinence, or the ones who talk about...
Hold up. Before we do that, we're going to talk about that stuff. Yes, we are. But what we're going to do, we're going to take a quick break, because we're going to bring our other guests on. And we got a man here that's going to give his perspective on this. So next in the studio, we will have Antonio Smith. So we'll be right back. You're watching Time for Change.
Listen, cat in the hat used to do smack. Now he does crack. He can't get back. Take it away, take it away, take it away. Now I'm talking about cat in the hat used to do smack. Now he does crack. He can't get back. Take it away, take it away, take it away. We talk about cat in the hat used to do smack. Now he does crack. He can't get back. Take it away, take it away. Get up, down. Cat in the hat used to do smack. Now he does crack. He can't get back. Check it out. Listen on up, y'all. I'm busted. That cat has took away all of his crack. Stuck him in a 3x4, and they said there people outside the door. No trying to escape because you won't get far. The things you done they was against the law. I know your mother told you all about the ups and downs. You did the crime, you got to do the time. Cat in the hat used to do smack. Now he does crack. He can't get back. Take him on back. I take him on back. I take him on back, y'all. I'm talking about cat in the hat used to do smack. Now he does crack. He can't get back. Take him away. Take him away. Take him away. Because I'm busted. That cat has took away all of his crack. Stuck him in a 3x4, and they said there be outside the door. So don't try to escape because you won't get far. The things you done it was against the law. I know your mother told you all about the ups and downs. You did the crime, you got to do the time. Cat in the hat used to do smack. Now he does crack. He can't get back. Take it away, take it away, take it away. Because the cat in the hat You ain't hardly got nothing for a black and blue bump. Now you running up the hustle, trying to run those shows. You done got yourself a half and don't know what it's about. So the best alternative is just to chill on out. Because you're busting the flames up, standing the killer, sticking top, smoking in your finger. Chill out, y'all. Chill out now, because you're busting the flames up, starting the killer, sticking top, smoking in your finger. Put it on down, get on down to get busy. Here we go. Get on down, get on down, get on down. Lock it in the pocket, baby. All right, we're gonna warm it up for all of y'all, cause you all come to the party. Yes, we love to see your party when you get together. Get down, baby. Yes, we love to see your party with your body when you're moving all around. Get on down. Oh, what y'all say? Tell me again. Can't hear it now. Little bit louder. One more time.
Oh my God. Hello, and welcome back to Time for Change. I am your host, Micyon, and this is my beautiful co-host,
Stubbs.
So we thank you guys for joining us. Now we have another guest in the studio. We have Mr. Antonio Smith.
What's happening?
Welcome, and thank you again for being here on Time for Change.
You know I love to come through. You know that.
Yes. So just tell our listening audience a little bit about you real quick, what you got going on. Then we're going to get back into this abstinence conversation.
Well, I'm Antonio Joseph Smith Jr. People know me for my stage name, Tone Butter. I'm a soul rap artist, actor, and a poet. I'm from Washington, D.C. I'm an advocate as well. I'm a man of God before anything. And I got a lot in store. We can get into that later. I'm gonna save that for last. Yeah, real business.
All right. So we all know that abstinence can mean different things depending on who you ask. Many people say that abstinence is not doing any kind of sexual stuff with another person, including vaginal, oral, or anal sex. That is what we're going to call abstinence here today, where we're pertaining to no sex. Nothing is going on. That's what it means to be abstinence.
Right.
Because I know some people do ask the question. They be like, well, what about oral? You know, they'll throw that out there real quick. Can you do that?
That's real.
Yeah.
That's
Can
real.
you do that? Can you get that? Can you get that? No, you can't get that.
And you guys, I'm just going to slide this over here so it can capture.
If you're practicing abstinence, you can't get that. So, Antonio, can you definitely tell us your perspective on abstinence? Because you yourself, you are a man, and most of the times people always say that men do not practice abstinence. But there's some men out here that's really practicing abstinence.
A lot of them.
A lot of men.
Where they at?
I'm telling you, it's a lot of men. I run into a
They
lot
always
of men.
at church.
Yeah, they trying to.
They in the
I better go to
presence of God.
church. I better go to church.
When you get in the presence of God, you do want to do different.
It's just like if
I'm not in His presence.
Only you
Only
and
you would
God
know that.
No, I'm just saying, y'all gonna say like if you ain't practicing abstinence, you not in the presence of God. That's what it sounds like.
No, they
No,
said
she didn't say
that
She said
when you're in His presence,
it changes.
it changes you to do things.
That's just
and
like
that's what
if
it's
you love
supposed
with
to do. I
somebody.
believe that when
Yeah.
you come to God, there's supposed to be a change. There's supposed to be something different about you. I know even for me, like it even came down to the way I was dressed. I was more conscious about how low my blouse was and what I was exposing. And it was just because of that I knew that I know God is always watching, but it's like I felt Him watching.
Right.
Like now I'm like, okay, I know I'm in the presence of my Father, so I'm going to have some decency about me, and that doesn't mean that there's no decency about anybody else. It's how you feel.
Yes. So I just wanted to make sure we make that clear for the
Yes.
people who's watching, because I don't want anyone to feel like God isn't with you.
No,
because,
never would say that. God is with us all.
Right.
And I'm just fixing so they can
God
see
is
you.
with us all, and wherever we're at, that's where God is at.
Yeah.
Right.
So Antonio, can you go ahead and speak on that for us with the abstinence of men,
and also how long you've been.
Exactly.
Well, I've been practicing abstinence. Well, let me be real.
Be real. We want it real.
You know I'm gonna be real.
So we fall off the horse.
Listen, I'm gonna be for real. I started practicing abstinence when I first got saved. That was in like 2013. So I started practicing abstinence for 2 years. I went celibate. I was so proud of myself. You know what I'm saying? And that was the problem. I got proud of myself and not proud of God. I got too comfortable, and that's what called me to backslid. I started, instead of keep holding God's hand and staying connected and prayed up like I supposed to, I started putting myself in situations. Like they say, don't make provisions for your flesh. It's like, unless you stay connected to God, stay in His Word, stay going to church to learn more and stuff like that, your spirit will become weak. And you'll be weak to different, temptation is too strong. That's why God say, flee from it. God don't say stand there and you pray it away. He say run from it. Because if you get indulged in it, it's a little too strong for you. It's a mother.
The flesh want what it wants and when it wants it.
Can we ask how old you are?
I'm 28. About to be 29 in August. So
yes, we're birthday twins. Both of our birthdays are
August 7th. Baby Leo's and
you 6 and 7.
Okay, Taurus is here and it's my
Hey, look, no. Happy birthday to all the Taurus. My brother's birthday is May the 10th.
Happy birthday, brother. Happy birthday.
The brother on the same page as me a little bit, but he don't want to come over here, but that's okay.
But yeah, as far as from a man's perspective, when I fell, it was devastating. But when you become in love, like if you come in love with somebody, you want everything. You desire them. You desire to become the best for them. It's like whatever they want you to do at that point, you willing to do it because of the love that you have for them. And that's the same with God. When you love God, you develop the desires that He has. You know what I mean? And God is holy. You know what I mean? God said, present yourself holy, for I am holy. You know what I mean? So when I came to God, it was just like my cravings and everything. Like, I ain't gonna lie. What I thought in the beginning, I thought I had a free pass because I thought fornication was cool. I'm like, God, you made made the woman. You made that. So I know that's good. I know that's good. So I was doing it, and I didn't have a conviction because I didn't know any better. And it also talks about God. You know, it's a saying, they say God keeps all babies in fools. Not meaning a foolish state, but also those who don't know better. Basically said it's better for you to not know God than to know Him and to continue living in sin. You know what I mean? So once you know better, you got to do better. And that's when your the conviction of your consciousness come in there. When I was having sex or fornicating at first, I didn't have a conviction because I didn't have the Holy Spirit within me. So I could do it and walk off, like smoke me a cigarette, like, that was right. Yeah. But when God came in my life, it was like, I feel ashamed every time I do it. Like you said, it's like now I feel He's watching me, like, dang, I can't believe I did that. And I have to pray, repent, and forgive. So I said, God, now I'm getting this feeling. Show me in your word where it says that having sex with women is wrong, because I don't understand. And he exposed it to me through different people. It says it talks about sexual immorality. Yes. I can go pull it up, but it talks about sexual immorality. Don't fornicate. Fornicating is sexual immorality. Your bed is defiled if you have sex before marriage, because marriage is more than just the contract. It's a covenant with God. Marriage was not only just for people who love each other to get together, but it's a bonding. It represents the bonding of Christ with the church. That's what marriage is about. When a man and his woman cleave together and become one, just like we become one with God. That's
what about the spiritual marriage and the people who live in other countries who don't believe in the law of the paper? Because a spiritual bond is more powerful than what the law, when you go down to the courthouse or you go get that paper signed. Hold on. So you have to spiritually bond with somebody and connect with them first. In African churches and Caribbean churches, when they get divorced, they pray in their bellies. They have to come up and get that spirit from their husbands. I don't care if he lives across the water from them. They have to come and pray that out of their bellies because of the spiritual connection of things. So you have people who have the religious part of things, but you have people who have stepped out of that. And it's not saying that they don't feel convicted for fornicating, but if you have one person that you're doing that with and you have a love for them, a feeling for them, and a connection for them, then I don't think that would be per se wrong. I don't think that you need to be feeling convicted for feeling good. It's just that that's who you are. And we have to understand also that Everybody isn't in the same religion as us. So for me, I am a person that's looking to travel all across the globe and connect with people. But I can't connect with a Muslim, an Indian, Arab, and all these other people if I have a closed mind into one religion. So that, I'm not saying you guys have a closed mind, but for me per se, I'm open to the non-judgment side of things to let people be who they are. And I'm going to check your heart, your character, and your actions, because I know people that go to church every day and they're on the pulpit preaching to the people like you. But they in my inbox too. Not only that, they have a husband. They have wives or they have husbands and they're sleeping with other women. So I think that it's all about abstinence comes in as a form of fasting and a form of control of your own self, as something similar to like what you mentioned before. But I agree with what you guys are saying. And let me tell you, brother, you are saying some strong, powerful stuff. And the women should be attracted to men like you for saying that, because you can lead them. But on the other end, I don't want to leave people feeling a certain way from this show because they are having sex. I don't want people to feel like God don't love them. They have no connection, that because they're not convicted over having sex, that is wrong, because their convictions may come from their evil heart. It may come from their evil mindset. Some people are having sex and some of the best people in this world. They're out making moves more than the church people. But I don't want people to get caught up on the sense of thinking that everything is in a religious Bible. That's not for everybody. That's for you guys. And I love what you all are saying. And there's an audience that's for you all, and God wants you to lead them.
Right.
But in what religion where they do not practice abstinence before marriage? Because I know Muslims do it as well. Like sex is off the table.
Spiritual.
I know that people, what they call people who worship Buddha?
Buddhists.
They sex is off the table before marriage.
Have you studied Buddhism?
No, I haven't, but I know someone who has, and they went into abstinence with not, having sex and things like that.
Buddha does not judge you. People think that Buddha is about serving a man. Buddha is about stair steps to catching your goals in life. There's really not a heaven in Buddhism. It's all about just always going higher, whether that's in your spiritual.
So this traveling through life on a higher frequency of energy. That's what they believe in.
As far as what we don't, one thing about a true follower of God, follower of Christ, the faith that we believe in.
Well, hold up 1 second. I was just told that we do have a caller on the line. Hello, caller. Thank you. You're tuned in to Time for Change.
Hello, everybody. It's Sherry.
Hey, girl.
Hey, guys.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I just stepped out of the show, and I've been listening. And, I just want to say that what we also have to remember as far as abstinence is concerned, it's definitely a relationship that you have with your God, right? So I can't condemn you for something or a decision that you make, but it is a relationship that you have, a spiritual connection that you have. And if that connection is where it's supposed to be, and I'm putting my air quotes, sustaining from abstinence, it's a process, right? So, and it's not going to be easy. It is it is a sense of control that you have to have over yourself. It's a sense of control that you have to have for any relationship that you're in. So if you're in a relationship with somebody and you're not practicing a sense of self-control, it just can affect other areas of the relationship. Right. So abstinence can really have a very strong foundation for your relationship, right? Absolutely. But a lot of times we don't wait because of the lack of self-control. Right. And that's really where abstinence comes from, but it's also that spiritual connection that you have to have with your higher power. And if that's what works for whoever, then that's what works for whoever. But if it doesn't, and people want a different type of mental, emotional, different type of spiritual connection with their mate, they can be strong enough to practice the abstinence. That's how I see it.
Right. Absolutely. Right. We thank you for that.
And I can't speak on it, y'all, because that's why I ain't there.
Hold on, baby. What you say? What you say?
She said she can't speak on abstinence. That's why she ain't here.
Oh.
That's why I ain't there.
I hear you, girl.
Well, we thank you. We thank you so much for tuning in, Sherry. We definitely miss you here today. Yes, we thank you so much for calling in, because that was very powerful for what you just said, and very impactful. So thank you for that, and enjoy the show.
I love you guys, but my boo is about to go back on stage, and so.
Okay, boo. Enjoy.
I have to put my priorities in order.
And listen, give Ruben a hug for all of us, for the ladies here.
Don't hug him too tight.
Give the teddy bear a hug for us.
I will give him a big old hug.
Practice abstinence tonight.
Yes. Woo woo.
I didn't cheer.
Love you, girl.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.
That is good. That is true. That it is a form of practicing control. And
yes,
I've been in relationships, and we not married, so we may take a week or two and fast together and say we're not going to do that.
And I think it's something that we have to. I think at some point in time that each person should practice abstinence at some point, just because of the whole self-control thing and that discipline thing. Because what will happen if you're in a relationship with someone, and I have heard people say this, and somebody gets sick and they can't have sex with you.
Yeah.
I have heard men and women say that, I'm just going to get it. You mean to tell me that somebody that been good to you and loving on you, and they sick, something that's beyond their control, and you can't even wait?
Right.
I mean, that's like a smack in the face.
That's because the self-control wasn't.
It's selfish.
Taken care
that's
of in
selfish.
And that's actually one of the things I write about in my ebook, Not My Goodies, because when you think about it, anything could happen. Like somebody could get sick, and then what about those situations where you in situations where you can cheat and get away with it? You know what I mean? Like if you haven't practiced self-control before marriage, and think about it, like you said earlier, the flesh wants what it wants. The flesh want to eat when it's hungry. It want to drink when it's thirsty. It wants sex when it's aroused.
It loves pleasure.
You know what I mean?
It loves pleasure.
When you can learn to practice abstinence and learn this self-control, you can get self-control in every other area. If you can fight that feeling, you can fight everything else.
And you become a stronger vessel that God can use at any time. Because when you think of, one of the main things that the devil uses against us a lot is pleasure, because he know our flesh love pleasure, and God can't send you with certain places if he know that you're going to give in to the devil's tricks. And it's crazy she called in and said that about relationship, because that's what I was about to say. As our faith and what we believe in, it's not to condemn anybody. We're not here to condemn anybody.
No condemnation
at all. So what we believe in and the standards that we have and that we try to live by is not to make other people feel inferior to us or nothing like that. It's just that our love for God and, we want to do what's pleasing to him. You know what I mean? God, it says Christ is coming back for a bride without blemishes. And I think about as being a man. Don't no man want a woman who's out here getting tainted, being a hoe.
Let's keep it real.
Just, you know what I'm saying?
Being a hoe.
But, that's just me in my vernacular,
No,
but
you're right.
No man want that. And that's the same thing God is saying. You out here doing all things that the devil want. You getting involved in all these pleasures. I want you to be holy. That's for what we believe in. We can't speak for every...
He blessed the prostitute.
He blessed them too, but it goes deeper than that. You know what I'm saying? So we can't... Everybody's relationship with God is different.
Yes,
you know what I mean? But God is a God of standards. God is no respecter of persons. God set a standard, and if he say don't do it, that mean don't do it. That don't mean, it's okay for me. I live a certain way. It's okay for you. Nah. We got to stick to that standard.
Like you can't pick and choose. And it's all about what you believe in and what you follow. I can't say I'm a Christian, but then I pick apart all what the standards of a Christian is, and say, no, I don't want that part, but give me this part, and I don't want that, but give me this. God said you got to take it all. And it's going to be some things that we have to deny. And he tells us that. He said, and it's not going to be easy. He said, but it'll be worth it.
It'll be worth it.
I've met so many people who have taken this journey of abstinence, and then they are living in bliss. They got good marriages. They are having sex. They having the best sex of their life.
Right.
Because they gave up something for God.
That's real. That's what it is.
They gave up something for God, and God said that anything you lose because of me, I will give it back to you double.
Double, yes.
I will give you a double portion of that.
And that, you know what? When I was going to church, there were a lot of things that convicted me. I can agree. If you going to church every Sunday, things will convict you. Now I fellowship outside, and I get convicted in different ways.
Right,
so
right,
for
right.
me, my conviction is just making sure I have a good heart and I'm doing good for people, by people. But I understand and I get what you guys are saying. Right. You know, church convicted me for making sure I paid my tithes. It convicted me for making sure I was in there Monday through Sunday. You know, it convicted me for a lot of things, but that does not necessarily mean it fit me. But I think that there's a great audience for pushing for abstinence, and I do know people who have practiced abstinence and they are blessed and they get things and they get certain things, but then it's just, for me, it's a form of fasting.
Right.
But someone,
that's your that's what I'm saying. That's your relationship.
And it's working, because let me tell you something. I went because I looked up teen abstinence statistics because of what we're talking about as adults. Well, the teens are getting it. It's stated that over 50% of teens are choosing to be abstinent. Abstinence is now becoming more popular. 73% of teens say they do not think it's embarrassing for a teen to be a virgin.
Right.
So now they are accepting it. And then it says 58% says teens should not even have sex. So 58% of teens are saying that we shouldn't even have sex, regardless of what precautions they take. And then it states that 67% of teens who have had sex said that they wish they had abstained until they were older. These are what the teens are saying now.
More people talking about it.
More people talking about it now.
One thing she said, though, that caught me when she said, what religion you said that was, where they got to pray the spirit up out of.
It was usually the African tradition.
But one thing she said about that, and that hit me, because that's what sex was made for. It was to make a man and his wife draw closer. You know what I mean? And it's a spiritual act. It's in a physical sense, but it's a spiritual act. You know, it's physical, the intercourse, but from the spiritual, is man and his wife coming closer together. And when you do it under the covenant of God, it is blessed.
Absolutely.
But when you do it out of the covenant of God, God said the bed is defiled.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And what he means by that is you can have sex with somebody, it might not even know them too well or can, but they might have the wrong spirits on the inside of them. And now your spirit is being bonded with their spirit. You know, or it might not be the person that's for you. So you become attached to a spirit that is that's not compatible with yours.
Absolutely.
And then problems and stuff kick in.
And that's the soul tie.
You know what I'm saying? That's the soul tie.
Because the way God had given us sex, he said that sex inside the marriage, it strengthens the God ordained soul tie.
Right.
And when it's not a God ordained tie, that's when all the other things come out of it.
Right.
That's what everything else that, like he said, it becomes defiled.
Right.
Like God said that in the marriage bed, you could do whatever you want to do. The bed is not defiled.
Right.
So what about a spiritual marriage? I'm just keep
Are
running.
you talking about from like the other religions?
If I go into my home and I decide that I want to have, like they did in the Bible, they didn't have the
ceremonies.
They presented themselves to God, and then they went their way, and they had a witness, and some of them didn't, and then they got married. Those are more spiritual, more powerful marriages than just the law marriage.
If you think about it, like the law marriage, like the law can marry 2 men and 2 women. So
but the Bible says follow the rules of the land, the laws of the land.
Yeah, right. But it's that spiritual. It's the sex that actually consummates the marriage, though. Because if you think about it, even in the Bible, the people weren't really married until they had the ceremony, and then they went and consummated the marriage. They had the sex. Like, prime example, I did a study on this. Leah and Rachel. Jacob, remember y'all, Jacob worked for Rachel 7 years, and then another 7 years. Well, actually, the first 7 years, the father changed his mind and said, "Well, you take Leah." It was when he went unto her, meaning he went to have sex with her, and they were married. It wasn't until they actually had sex, Rachel and Jacob had sex, that they were actually married. So we actually laying around marrying a whole bunch of people if you really look at it from the spiritual standpoint. And that's the thing. God didn't create sex to become one with everybody. And that's the thing. When we sleep around, we're literally marrying this person, marrying that person, marrying that person. We're becoming one with all these different people.
It was a story in the Bible where God asked one of the women, "Where are your husbands?"
Yeah,
and she was a prostitute.
Talking about that.
Yeah.
But see,
where is all your husbands, girl?
Let me tell you, brother, you should have been up here to have your point. Did he grow up in church with you?
We did. That's another thing I was gonna say.
We didn't
grow up in church. You know, we've been to church before coming up. You know, but we didn't grow up in church. I just got saved in 2013. So my take on how I'm living for God is more with my relationship. It wasn't about me like, oh, I just went to church and everything changed. No, I got changed out there in the streets. God was coming to me in the streets. That's how I built a relationship. I had a relationship with Jesus before I even came to church. So me going to church is just like a kid going to school to learn more. But other than that, I praise God all through the week at home. I have church right in my bathroom. You know what I'm saying?
Your father said that.
Yeah.
His father said he be up all night.
All night, you hear me? Praising the Lord.
But you know what? And I praise the Lord too, and I make sure I do if I'm speaking in tongues and all that in the home. In church, they do it in the church. They do it out loud in the church. That's not even the right way to do things. They running around in the church and they praising. But some of the things my whole thing that I come here for is to help people to understand that religion is just religion. You know, man gave that to us. That Bible that we have, we can't track that back to the people before Christ and say that it's definitely that Christ wrote that. Not only that, there were murderers. There were people who took people's wives. They prayed to God about it. Sent people to war to do certain things. Hold on. But God told them to pursue. So we're talking about the prostitutes that was blessed too. These was the ones that slept around. So for me, my teaching to people is that God calls the ones who he choose. And no matter what you doing and how you do it, when he say he gonna bless you, he gonna bless you and he gonna do it for you. So when it comes to religion, I've seen people go to church for years and be stressed, busted, disgusted, and live their whole life for 25, 30 years in church, get 50 and 60, and now they're resentful towards church. They're mad at people because they felt like they were forced to do something. So for me, my God that I serve, he's a free will God. And not only that, he's a loving God. He's a forgiving God. He's a teaching God. And he can't teach me if I know everything. So right now, where I am in this, I'm cool with it, and if other people are cool with it, you sound very strong and powerful, and I would want my daughter to marry you. Okay? We need brothers that think like that.
We do.
But I love everything she said.
And these brothers that think like this is going to meet these women that think like that. And this is what it comes, and this is all we're saying. It's about being in relationship with somebody who thinks and got the same view as you.
Spiritually compatible. But that's the thing. The same God you said you serve, my God is those same things. Loving, forgiving, caring. That's how he saved me. I'm not this, holier than thou, I'm better than thou. I know you didn't say I'm speaking in general. Okay. Hear me out. I'm not this, I just got saved in 2013. God came to me in my mess, in the streets, robbing, doing all the stuff street dudes do. You know what I'm saying? So when I came to God, it was on my own. I wasn't forced. God, my God, the God we serve, I don't force my relationship, because I don't call, it's not the faith that we have. We don't consider that a religion. It's a relationship, because our God is an unconditional God. There's no conditions on who, like you said, he chooses whoever. He chose me, so I know he'll choose whoever, because I ain't better than nobody. You feel what I'm saying? So it's not based on that. It's just based on your relationship. I wasn't forced to go. I came because of my experience with him. So it's like nobody can tell me or change what I believe in, because I experienced him for myself. So if I come into church and the person is that's why I get in that word for myself, but in that word, it gotta be led by the Spirit. It got to be led by the Spirit. You can read the Bible back and forth, but unless you led by the Spirit, you won't really understand it. You know, they say the carnal man don't understand the things of the Spirit. That's right. And God opened up the spiritual eyes of those whom he choose. But that doesn't mean that you are better than nobody else, because God do it, because we all are in the same boat. Yes. You feel what I'm saying?
And what season he have you in is different than a season that he may have.
Exactly. It's about your relationship.
So that's what I was saying for the things like, I think she has a fabulous book. You guys should make sure you get it. But at the end of the day, I want people to understand that you have an audience. You have an audience. I have an audience. You have an audience. And God uses us for his own purpose. Right. And when we get to a certain place, then he has the decision, am I going to change or am I going to keep her this way. So my most important thing is whether you're having sex or not having sex, your heart better be right. You know what I'm saying? So for me, my God is focused on my heart. You know, and I'm not saying go out here and be sleeping around, because if you're sleeping around, of course, you're picking up all types of spirits. But for me, if I find someone who I like and I'm enjoying and it's just us together, I might go ahead and stress relief.
Right. But that's between you and
my God.
Yeah, that's
God.
between you.
Exactly.
But mine is one
Don't throw no
of I can't
stones.
do that. And that's what I'm not going to do, because I love him that much. So if his words say, don't do that, and it's more of so, it's a conviction. His spirit, that gut feeling you get, like if you about to steal something and something like, don't do that.
But he has to convict you, folks.
He has to convict you. You know what I mean? But it's all about your walk and your relationship. Everything, can't nobody force you to do nothing. Shit, nobody ever force. One time I was in church and my uncle was like, man, this time they was calling people up for the altar call. My uncle was like, man, come on, you need to go. And I got up. I was young. My father said, This was one of the biggest turning moments in my life. I didn't understand. I understand when I got over. He said, nah. He said, no, sit back down. He said he gonna go when he ready. And I done went through so much after then. I mean, so much.
Wow.
But I came when I was ready.
Right.
And at that time, that relationship I had with God, it was like, I had an experience. So when I went to church, it was just like being amongst people. It's like church is a hospital, man.
Yeah,
it's a hospital for sinners. You can't go in the hospital and allow patients that's in there to deter you or push you away from the doctor to the one that's going to heal you.
Right.
And that's what a lot of people do, because there is a lot of filthy stuff going on in the church.
Yeah, it
Christians are not perfect.
It is.
There are people who are trying to change. That's why we go. So you still going, that's just like going, if you go to the hospital and all of us in there waiting on the doctor.
I hate to cut you off, brother.
Go ahead.
I know
take a break.
No,
Yeah.
it's the time. We never have enough time to talk about these things.
I think enough got off with people could,
so
look forward to it next time.
What we're going to do before we got 2 minutes, and what I want everybody to do is just give our listening audience how they can follow you and catch up with each and every one of you. So go ahead, Tone.
Catch up with me on Facebook at Antonio Joseph Smith. Instagram at Call Me Tone Butter. Just go on Google. Go to Tone Butter or Real Business Ministries. That's me.
Google him.
Google
him.
Shadonna, Shedonna Stubbs. You can put G in the middle if you want. You can Google me too. But make sure you guys go follow the Stubbs Show on Facebook Live. I'm getting ready to bring it to Vox Wave. I am your next daytime TV talk show host, so go and check me out now. Shadonna Stubbs. They call me Stubbs.
Stubbs in the house.
And I am Kendra, also known as Miss K. I'm an author, poet. My books are on Amazon, Pain, Promiscuity, Purpose from Mester Ministry, and also Not My Goodies. You can find me on Facebook at author Miss K, Mizzk.
Absolutely. And I am Mignon Brown Anderson. You can follow me on Facebook and Instagram, Mignon Brown Anderson. And also check out Time for Change on Instagram and Facebook. I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. We will see you again next week at 6:30. Thank you for tuning in.
Peace.
And the student has to pass the master.